Hey folks, welcome back to the Pre-Construction Podcast. I am delighted to welcome Aman Singh, Director of Pre-Construction at Design Group, to the podcast. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
We've got a lot to get through. Aman, before we kind of start, can you give us an idea of the Design Group as a company and then your transition and your responsibilities from Greycore into the Design Group?
Sure. So Greycore is a national general contractor. We work in the commercial industrial sector. We build for the big name clients, and I worked as a pre-construction lead for the Southeast and had the fortune to develop a team, grow a team, see that part of the business grow. The Design Group opportunity is a little bit more national scale. It gives me a chance to work with a national team. Design Group's roots are in providing design services for manufacturing clients, food and beverage, several industrial sectors, life sciences, oil and gas, different sectors. And we are a fully integrated EPC company. We functioned more as a design organization for a long time, and our clients just wanted better EPC delivery, and over the years we've been delivering some construction, and the business is focused on growing that piece where our clients are asking for it. And so transitioning was part of like helping grow this national pre-construction approach, bringing some conformity, bringing some better practices, so excited for that.
Brilliant. And your role as well, we're going to get into a little bit more detail on project controls, because this is the Pre-Construction Podcast. We talk a lot about estimating pre-construction, but project controls is a different beast. It's a different animal. Kind of give us the high level, for anybody that doesn't know about project controls, the high level stuff that you're involved in on a day-to-day.
Yeah, so I started my career like every other field engineer out of college, and I had a knack for scheduling and cost management, got great opportunities to do that on some really meaningful projects with my previous employer. Led some project controls efforts, so essentially budget and schedule management for some very large programs for large industrial clients. And some of the things we were touching had one day of schedule delay could be worth $30,000-$40,000 in LDs or higher than that, because it had an impact for our clients' production and the things that come from that. So very high intensity. There was a point when we were providing schedule updates twice a day, and that's how quickly we had to track information and keep up with the project to meet our clients' needs. So it was just worked with some great people in the field and learned from them. What I will say, Gareth, for your audience is, I have found a very big overlap in the skills that you develop through a good project controls practice that are directly applicable to a pre-construction practice. Certainly there's knowledge to gain, on the estimating numbers, the sub-relationships, but the aptitude you gain through doing some of the analytics on the project control side, the people relationships you gain, that helps you a long way in pre-con.
Yeah, it does. And the skills for project controls to be successful in project controls, and I know this is a big thing for you, for developing your internal talent and then bringing people in and developing them as well. If there's anybody out there now, what do you see, what skills do you see align better with project controls?
Yeah, I would say, whenever we look at talent, I like to think about it in attitude, aptitude, knowledge, right? Knowledge, there is some overlap. First thing is to learn to be a good builder, and if you can do that is applicable everywhere, right? But to me, the more important thing is the other two. The aptitude that you gain by analyzing what the data is telling you on the project control side, and being able to come up with solutions, being agile enough to solve those problems and work through those, and then being able to have those discussions with a tradesman in the field as well as an executive at the business table. Those are all things that are very key to be successful at project controls, and they also happen to be things that will really take you a long way in pre-construction. I've taken that route. Every pre-construction professional came from some trade background, some sort of somebody was good at mechanical, somebody was good at pipe, somebody was good at electrical. I say I was good at scheduling. And so there's other people who I think there's a great overlap between the two. And
I agree with you. I mean, when you, especially in the industrial space, when you look at what's going on in the industry, the complexity of the projects, and we're going to talk now about the delivery method. With Design Group, your firm now, I mean, I think it's the stat is 87% of projects right now are in some sort of collaborative delivery method. So design build, is that something that the Design Group are going to go after much more?
That is absolutely everything we do. That is certainly what the clients ask of us. You know, being a fully integrated design firm, being able to deliver the projects a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently than your traditional design, bid, build, delivery would allow is absolutely what the need is. And I mean, that's what the industry needs too. So we're certainly deep in it.
Yeah, speed and quality, really. That's
absolutely
what clients are looking for. And do you see more and more clients coming to you that maybe traditionally wouldn't have used that model?
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, the sectors that we touch, right, which produce a product at the end when the plant is built, has the client generating revenues at the end of that cycle. If you can start that revenue generating cycle a few months earlier by doing this delivery, there's big benefits in that, and that's where we see a big push.
And you talked on project controls, the importance of scheduling. Have you got any case studies, any examples of why scheduling is so important and why it's a big thing about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll go at it 2-3 ways. I mean, certainly. I would say the schedule commitment and the budget commitment as part of certainty of outcome have always been top of mind. You know, safety and quality being the baseline, that has to happen, and then these are things that the clients want. That's how they measure success. That's always been the case. In these production environments, you know, the idea of being able to produce product early is, like we discussed, it's a big deal. Or in case of some of our clients where the part of the plant operation is shut down, so effectively their business operations are now hampered until we deliver the project back. And so those things are pretty intense. And then certainly there's contractual LDs. And the last thing I will say about this is we kind of owe it to our subcontractors to just manage schedules better so they're efficient at their workflow, you know.
Yeah, it makes their life easier. And I mean, if the subcontractors or trade partners, as some people like to call it, if they're not happy, then generally they don't do the work, which in turn is the product that you give to your client.
We can put all the plans on paper we want if we don't get good subs, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah. And then on the, I want to touch on the scheduling. You mentioned safety and quality. I mean, when people think about schedule, they don't always think safety and quality. Why do you think it's so important?
The clients we work for absolutely value it, measure it. I mean, the industrial sector is one of the, I would say, the leading sectors in terms of driving the safety performance forward and quality expectations too. You know, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because the risk is high.
Yeah.
And especially when you're working in a lot of our projects, we work in existing facilities where there's operational interface, and to be able to not just keep the folks working on our project safe, but everybody else around, I mean, that's paramount.
Yeah, brilliant. And I want to touch on something else as well, which is the technology side of it. I mean, we're at Advancing Preconstruction. You saw the tech booth in there. They are massive. They're getting bigger and they're getting better. There's more tools becoming available. How do you navigate all of that?
You try to study, you pick something, and then you trust it for a little bit, right? We've got some tools in our toolbox that we're using, and some we're continuing to explore further. Today we're using Destiny's platforms for estimating. We're exploring their platform for some bid evaluations. We're using P6 for scheduling. We're using Join for target value delivery. I mean, there's a lot of things, and the tools will continue to grow as you've seen in the conference. You know, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
And you mentioned 3 or 4 there. Is it the integration that's so important when you think about the data?
It is, and I would say each year at this conference, like the idea of an integrated solution is becoming more and more real, right? But I think it's still a little elusive. I think the opportunity to disrupt that space exists.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody needs it.
And everybody's trying to fill that void.
Everybody's trying to fill that void.
And it's the most difficult. I mean, everybody wants it. And don't get me wrong, there's certain companies that are so far ahead when it comes to that, and others are lagging behind. But eventually everybody's going to have to get on that train, and they're going to have to get and organize their data.
Absolutely.
How difficult is it within the design group? I mean, as you say, because you're fairly integrated. Is it a little bit easier because it's all in-house?
So I'm not gonna lie. People management, people alignment, getting people together is still people. You know, the risk of that, the challenge of that still exists, but that's absolutely the place to go. You know, our industry, the construction industry, has come leaps and bounds. I would say even within the last 5 years in terms of technology. The next frontier is real collaboration, like not just say, but actually do.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And that is just what has to improve.
Even last year, I mean, we were at Advancing Preconstruction in Phoenix last year. There's probably 30% more booths in there now. Obviously wanting to get their name out there, launching, they're at seed rounds. It's quietly creeping up. And now they've got options, and that's what we want. We want competition. Yep. It's like the construction industry. There's enough work out there for everyone. It's just a matter of everybody refining it and getting it right.
Right.
Yeah. And then another thing that you really enjoy doing, I know it's part of your role, is talent development. So tell me how you go about that, because you've been quite successful both at Greycore and obviously now with Design Group. What's the most important aspects of getting that right?
I will say that probably is something I've become very passionate about. Just like the industry's given so much to me in this next phase to try and make sure we give back. For me, it's about opportunity and coaching, right? In some ways, there's a balance to strike, right? The present generation wants to be coached. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but at the same time doesn't want to be told. So striking the balance of engaging folks in that conversation, empowering them to learn because it's right for them, is very important. And that's where I think it becomes very important to provide opportunities for peer learning and reverse mentoring, not just one way. And we're trying to provide those. We're trying to challenge our team members to take a small business problem, not just a project level problem, to try and research on it, to try and solve it a little bit, and then share it with the peers, and then improve together. I can say that in my past I was given some of these opportunities, and it's only been beneficial, and we hope to pass those down just as well.
And the reverse mentorship thing it's really important, considering the amount of senior people that are going to leave the industry within the next 5 or 10 years.
Absolutely.
And I know you'll have heard me talk about this on the podcast for so long. It's the MEP side for me. I mean, I know it's huge in the industrial side, but there's probably 37, 38 people in the MEP side that are real subject matter experts, but they're all very senior, and they're going to be retiring in the next 5 to 10 years. How do you kind of solve that problem?
Fill that void. It is a real challenge, and I guess my position is it's not going to get solved the traditional way. We're not gonna say that there is 15 other people waiting in the wings who by the time they turn 50 will be experts, because there's just not. I think the next solution will come from collaboration. The opportunity in my company, for example, is we have some very senior design professionals that we're trying to learn from on the construction side. At the same time, we've taken opportunities where we've learned through subcontractor partners or vendors, and I think that was my point with collaboration. I think those walls will just have to come down, and that's the only way forward. The old way of waiting for that one great person who's going to solve it, that's just not how it's going to go.
That's interesting, because a lot of other people try and just fill a void, so they try and get someone in there. And eventually, what happens on the GC side is they end up taking from the subcontractor side. I mean, and once you do that, that's kind of, it's a double-edged sword. You can't keep doing that. So giving people opportunity to me is huge. So taking people from other industries, whether it is on the mechanical design side, get them into pre-construction estimating, into project controls, and show them there is a career in that.
Either through that or by some continued commitment to collaborate, right? That the person can retain their role, their place, and yet we can have an open dialogue, just break down some walls to learn through each other, and we're starting to see some of that, but there's a lot more to do.
Brilliant, very good. And at the minute, Design Group, obviously, you're fairly new in the role. How's it been going? What challenges have you had, and what can we expect in the future?
The business opportunity is fantastic. We work for top tier clients who value good quality services. So So to build a structured pre-construction service is absolutely the need. But it is a large organization, and just working through organizationally all of the leadership, getting everybody aligned, getting people to function in one way, recruiting, training, those challenges exist, but at the same time, that's what excited me about this, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
I think there's a lot of good to come, both from a business standpoint and from the opportunities that we can offer.
Yeah, and I think like any company, it takes time. So workflows, processes, it all takes time to implement. Obviously, with your background with Greycore for almost 15 years, you would have learned a lot from that. How long does it take, especially the workflow side of things? I always find pre-construction estimating, project controls, once you have solid workflows and processes and standardization, then you're able then bringing people on is a lot easier. Correct. So there's less of your time that you've got to give up.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, there certainly is that challenge. One thing I will say is, I mean, certainly I've had this opportunity to sit with you and talk about this, but I'm not alone in this. I have a team of folks who also bring their own set of knowledge, their own set of learnings through other places, and so together we're trying to navigate that. And I have full faith that we're going to work our way through it.
Exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to talk about this next year.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I'll expect big things from Design Group in the next. And listen, this is obviously a great opportunity as well. People listening, if they wanted to kind of pick your brain on a few things, maybe find out a little bit more about Design Group, where's the best place to get you?
LinkedIn.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just find me on LinkedIn. I have never not accepted an invite. It's the right thing to do, and certainly about the company, about the industry, mentoring. Me, my team, we're all excited. We're all in this to build a better place.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, this is what the podcast is about. It's about getting thought leaders on here, sharing their stories, sharing their pain points and their success stories, to be able to then people just pick up one or two things, because people do it differently all over the world. But if you pick up one or two small processes, small nuggets, then it'll be better and easier for everyone, because there's enough work out there for everyone.
Absolutely. I will say, I mean, thank you for doing this, because I've picked up those one or two things from some of your previous podcasts, and I hope people continue to do that.
Brilliant. Aman, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise, Gareth. Appreciate it.